Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am Anastasia Vlachou and I will be your moderator for this discussion. We are here to delve into how blockchain technology can empower SMEs, and I'm delighted to introduce you to two distinguished representatives who bring a wealth of expertise to this conversation. Mr. Karel Van Isacker holds a background in applied economic sciences with specialization in developmental economics and business administration from the University of Antwerp. He is the founder and CEO of DataQuad BV, a Belgian enterprise established in 2023. The company is dedicated to seamlessly integrating the transformative power of artificial intelligence, blockchain technologies, and machine learning with the boundless potential of educational metaverses. Central to its mission is a steadfast commitment to fostering inclusion as an essential principle in all educational environments. TataQuad BV has also extensive expertise in designing and delivering ECVET compliant training, curricula, and programs tailored to empower the SME sector. So welcome, Karel.
Thank you.
Joining us also is Dr. Dimitrios Tsolis, an external collaborator of Rezos branch and associate professor at the University of Patras. Dr. Tsolis has a strong background in electrical engineering and computer technology, and he specializes in computer networks, Web 2.0 technologies, advanced information systems, and the legal aspects of informatics. His research focuses on agricultural informatics with expertise in sensors, sensor networks, blockchain, big environmental data management, and the application of augmented reality technologies in precision agriculture and urban farming. It's a pleasure to have you with us, Dimitrios.
Thank you, me too. Thank you for the invitation.
Let's begin by hearing your perspectives on SME engagement challenges. So, engaging SMEs in training programs can be challenging due to time and resource constraints. So, Karel, what challenges do you face engaging SMEs in the tourism and agri-food sectors?
Well, the main challenges that we face and that we identify across the board in different countries is, first of all, a complete or quite a high level of lack of understanding of what exactly blockchain can offer, what are the potential benefits. People have heard about blockchain. They always link it to crypto, especially when you talk about mining. They think, oh, crypto mining, but we are looking in a total different direction. So I think that's the first thing, the lack of awareness of what can blockchain offer for their business. Once they understand what blockchain can offer, then the cost pops up. Especially when they want to, because they believe then they want to run their own blockchain, etc. While, for example, you could opt, for example, for a solution whereby you join another initiative. So cost there is a major barrier as well, especially when we explain them the steps, how you're going to implement blockchain. This is not something done in 1, 2, 3. It's not done by a developer that just works a few hours in a week. I mean, it's really decent work that needs to be done. I think interoperability is also a challenge for them. I was 2 weeks ago in Serbia. I visited a couple of companies, a packaging company, a winery, and we were looking at what is available there and what could be hooked on to blockchain to justify the use of blockchain. And he saw that actually that there were interoperability issues that for sure will arise once they want to implement it. Many of the companies are also unaware of the regulations. And I think many of us are unaware of the regulations. And if you look at the information that is provided on European level about AI, it's quite about the blockchain. It's quite limited. It's quite general. And finally, I think, especially if you go in family businesses, you get the resistance from the older generation. I think this is not needed. We do this with our own logbooks and etc. Why would we put that in a blockchain? So these are like I think the main challenges that need to be addressed before that can really take off among SMEs. On the other hand, there are research, there are recent research from the past few years, and it shows blockchain is being used by bigger companies, by multinationals and etc. But when you look at SME, those are still the main challenges, in fact.
Thank you, Karel. Dimitrios, what about SMEs in the food supply chain? What are their main engagement hurdles?
Now, I have to agree with Karel in many of the points he had already discussed about. Regarding training programs, there is this traditional mentality which sometimes make these SMEs to resist to digitalization, and they prefer familiar practices. And combining this with that the SMEs do not have a clear understanding of what blockchain technology is, they tend to agree and understand that it is a complex technology to be applied in the sector. These two together, combined also that many SMEs operate on tight budgets and are reluctant to allocate funds for training programs, all these issues together provoke a challenge that SMEs hesitate to embrace blockchain at first and invest in learning about it. So I think that if we would like to have a proposal, we would like to overcome these hurdles. Training programs must be affordable, accessible, and designed with practical and real-world applications for SME needs. So as these challenges to be overcome.
Thank you. So many SMEs are still unfamiliar with blockchain's potential. Are SMEs in your sectors aware of how blockchain can optimize their supply chains, Karel?
So that's partially what I already said, partially what Dimitri also said. The first thing is actually to raise awareness with these SMEs, what can be done. I think an important aspect in there is to understand how does their business work. We have, for example, with our project, there's a part awareness, and there's a part also training. For example, for the implementation of a Dropbox, we have identified 11 specific steps. So the point is that these 11 steps, you need to align them with how they do it in their business. For example, if we talk about trusted suppliers, okay, do they have all this information? Are they really the trusted suppliers? For example, if you go in the food packaging industry, food comes from all over the world. How will they guarantee that whoever they say is a trusted supplier, in reality is a trusted supplier? On the other hand, for example, companies also invest in certification. That's a good element, because once you have a certification, you can add that. So it's really understanding how do they work on the one side, and on the other hand, then to explain to them, this is how it fits into the blockchain. These are the benefits. I come back to that example of the Serbian company. They were very keen to introduce on their products QR codes whereby people can understand, okay, this is the product, an explanation of the product, and this is what you can do with the product, how you can properly cook it, how you can prepare it. And then they said it would be very nice that they scan and immediately can trace the origin, that they can understand where did these ingredients come from? Is it from a trusted supplier? So to some extent, you see that they're already doing steps that are actually well preparing for a blockchain, but actual implementation is a totally different story. And again, we have identified these 11 steps, and we need to cross-check that with the companies. And again, that is part awareness, part proper training, and also very important, I think, here is giving them a concrete example of how it has been done successfully, so that they can identify, not with the multinational, but with the small SME that has done it, is working on it, and is implemented it. And that's also, I think, Dimitri and colleagues, you're working in that direction. That's something, for example, for an SME would be very interesting to see. They did it like that. These are the challenges they met. This is how it can be made smoother. I mean, the process to implement it.
Thank you for that. Dimitrios, do food supply SMEs understand how blockchain enhances traceability and trust?
Yes, I tend to agree again with Karel about raising awareness. And we are detecting also that food supply SMEs often struggle to fully understand how blockchain enhances traceability and trust. So Some recognize its potential to improve transparency, and many view blockchain as a complex and costly technology, so the applicability to their operations is limited. Moreover, SMEs may not realize that blockchains have immediate benefits sometimes. For example, in food fraud, food prevention, or traceability, like Karel said, to gain trust of the whole supply chain. So training initiatives like TRUSTFOOD are crucial to help SMEs to comprehend and leverage blockchain's transformative potential, so as to know that blockchain may, in the near future, enhance traceability and trust of the whole food supply chain.
Thank you. So SMEs often need to see immediate value in adopting new technology, and as you mentioned, Karel, they need to see concrete example. Can you share a concrete example of how blockchain benefits SMEs in supply chain management?
Well, and I think this is also in the business of Rezos brands. Lately, there have been reports surfacing about counterfeit honey. So we know this Chinese import is very poor in quality. Also, Ukraine was mentioned, but there it's actually the quality of their production is actually quite high. So I think there, first of all, that's a very practical domain, but I'm sure Dimitri can say more about that. But I think that when we look at a practical implementation, I would there go for an open blockchain approach in the agri-food sector. An open blockchain, and why open? Because it also, it allows to use open source elements, open technologies to further implement that, and to have this as a demonstrator. However, as I mentioned before, the cost of such implementation is quite high. So when I was in Serbia, one of the companies said, actually, they were very correct in that. We believe that it should be the Chamber of Commerce that operates such permission blockchain platform, and then SMEs can actually sign up to them and use it. Now, I think this is a very good approach, because in that way you have advantage of the scale that you deploy it. You move the element of everyone having to develop their own blockchain, you move that to centralized. Well, this is a little bit funny. It's centralized for decentralized solution, but that's actually, I think, is what we can see in the future to happen. And so if this would be organized more or less on such group approach, such umbrella approach, I think this could be a very good example. Why would they do it? Well, I think, again, the main elements that pop up is increased transparency and trust. And again, in those products where we hear a lot of complaints, olive oil, for example, is a major issue. Olive oil, in Bulgaria, there was fake olive oil that was being sold. Olive oil with wrong origin, claimed origin that is not the actual origin. Cost savings and efficiency in the long term. I think this is also an important element. Market differentiation. And why do I say that? Small SMEs often supply to multinationals. And if you're then a trusted partner, because you have a blockchain, your products are more trusted, it will open differentiation. You will have other companies to who you can supply. Yeah, I think those are the main advantages if such type of solution would be provided, for example, on a Chamber of Commerce level, especially for SMEs, because, again, SMEs are small. They don't have the necessary big resources to do all this development on their own. And 1 + 1 is 3 in this case. So I think this would be a proper solution.
Thank you. Dimitrios, how does blockchain improve food traceability for SMEs right away?
Okay, at first, I think that we have the same problem which Karel has already described. Here, the Ministry of Agricultural Development initiated a project to set the basis to offer services for blockchain solutions to SMEs in food supply chain, but it's too early yet. Even here in Rezos, we had a project which developed a blockchain framework and infrastructure, and the initial design was based on the concept that this will be used by other SMEs too, because developing a blockchain infrastructure for one company is not something that is rational. It's expensive sometimes and time costly, and it is a service that can't be provided to third parties. So based on Karel's opinion, if this third party that operates a framework and infrastructure for blockchain is a trusted third party, like a ministry, a chamber of commerce, etc., this will enhance the trust to the framework and the service provided, and everybody will start to use this service so as to achieve higher traceability. Traceability, for your question now, blockchain improves immediately traceability because it provides a transparent and tamper-proof system to track and verify every step in the food supply chain. So when you produce, when you store, when you move, transfer, package, warehouse a product, all the data that are being extracted by mobile application of sensors, IoT sensors, are distributed in a decentralized and immutable ledger that records all transactions. These transactions can later be traced back, and through a visualization service, a consumer could have the full history of a product in a trusted framework and a trusted infrastructure, which enhances this sense of all the data are being provided by a single source of truth. This is the magical thing that blockchain is offering, that this is providing a single source of truth, and the data integrity that it applies to the data gathered by all these sensors and mobile applications is so enhanced that cannot be hacked or cannot be altered. So the final consumer is able to trace back the history and be sure that the data that he sees or she sees is correct.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we spoke about the benefits, but despite the potential, adoption barriers exist. Karel, what would you say are the common barriers that SMEs face when considering blockchain adoption?
So I'll provide the barriers with the potential solution because that puts it in a more positive perspective. So we have said it before, lack of awareness and understanding. I think projects like yours, TRUSTFOOD, projects like ours, Block for SME, we want to make it more tangible to SMEs what they can expect. What they cannot expect, what they can expect. Where can it be applied? Why would it be applied somewhere? Give them also, for example, also tangible experience with SMEs. That's why, for example, you're looking at the potential to introduce a sandbox experience so that they can play around with an environment without going to a real blockchain environment. So to let them play around and understand what is the impact of their work. Again, referring to the different steps that you need. I think, for example, setting up the digital identity framework, the IDs. So your suppliers need the ID, and it's who the organization is going to join in that effort, because it's not a one-person effort. There are people throughout all the steps that have to participate in that. Then the other thing is the high implementation cost. Dimitri also pointed out, I pointed it out. There are solutions to that if you would have a trusted provider. Could be ministry, could be a chamber of commerce, could be grouping of companies even. For example, look at IBM Food. This is, I think, one of the most well-known ones, but that's more for the very big companies. The scalability and compatibility issues, yes. I mean, you will have to make sure that whatever you want to connect with the blockchain environment, that this is compatible. That means also, for example, that the way that data is stored must be uniform. This is something that people sometimes forget, but this is very important as well. Regulatory uncertainty, I think that this is less something that we can influence. This is more of the policymakers. But when I see what is currently being released on that, I'm not that positive yet. I mean, I've read through this document. It's very high level. They don't go in detail. And I think this will be very important that the government organize info sessions for SMEs so that they really understand what is the regulatory impact for me, what should I do, what should I not do. Limited access to expertise. Not many people know how actually to implement blockchain, how to do it properly. And that's why you often end up with these big solutions, because yeah, I will call again IBM Food, which is a good product. But I mean, they have put loads of effort in that to develop this. I mentioned again the resistance to change. That's the older generation versus the young generation. When we visited that company in Serbia, what I mentioned before, the mother was sitting there and the young generation was also there. Young generation in their 30s. And they were very eager in blockchain. They wanted to know how could it be done? Would their company be compatible with that? What should they prepare? So you saw there really that it's young generation that's pushing that. It's not the older one really. Data privacy and security. There is one issue. Once you're in the blockchain, it cannot be removed, cannot be tampered with, but it stays in the blockchain. And actually, this is more or less in contradiction with GDPR. Where GDPR states we should be able at any point in time to remove information that links to a person. Actually, blockchain does not allow that. Okay, so this is a big but when you look at the European, in my opinion, too strict GDPR regulation. The return on investment, especially if you do this yourself, I think the return on investment will be very low. I don't think this is a feasible solution. But if you again work with a trusted party, as we mentioned before, Chamber of Commerce, Ministry of Economy, etc., I think then the return on investment could be really reasonable. Reasonable in the sense that impact on the consumer, because consumer is interested in a producer that provides trusted products. If I buy honey, to go back to our main interest field, honey that I have no proof that it is real honey or that it has been blended with, or it's absolutely not honey. Yeah, this is a major concern for consumers. That's why, for example, personally, I don't buy in the supermarket anymore. I go to people that have their own beehives and I buy the honey there, because then I know for sure that's my trusted supplier. Some part of lack of standards that still have to be addressed within the blockchain environment, but I more or less addressed that before. And then still that limited support that exists from existing networks. As a company, you need to try and find with who could I work to do this. It's not yet formally organized on the level that every SME who today says, I'm interested, I join, does not exist like that. And again, that's where I think our two projects can offer a lot of added value, because we are at the step of awareness and I would say playing around with the blockchain. So once we have that step behind us, for us at least, also as a company and together with our partners across Europe, we want to go one step further and we want to implement a proper blockchain that can be operated by SMEs in an organized manner. I understand, Dimitri, you're a step further than us, but so we are looking that direction. And that was a funny part when we explained to that company that we visited. They explained another issue that they face as a company. It had nothing to do with blockchain, and we realized that AI and blockchain has to work together. For example, if you have a batch of food that has to be scanned for contaminations, AI can help a lot in that to make sure, okay, we have a trusted aspect there. There is no contaminations added to the block. So the role of blockchain and AI is the next step that we see to come together and to address the current barriers that the SMEs have. That was in a nutshell.
Thank you very much, Karel, for the detailed response. Dimitris, what would you say are the biggest obstacles for food SMEs in adopting blockchain?
Karel said it all.
He did,
Okay.
actually.
Yes. Actually, he covered everything and depicted with an excellent manner the obstacles. I think if we'll have to add something, I would say that sometimes it's more difficult for a company to adjust to a new infrastructure than a new company to, from scratch, implement an infrastructure. So for all the food supply chain SMEs, it's difficult to adapt and adjust to the new and reality of blockchain in relevance with the new SME. And sometimes the supply chains are too fragmented. So you have to coordinate between diverse stakeholders which have varying levels of digital readiness. So this makes the application of blockchain even harder sometimes. And then this is the point where a trusted party, a governmental, a ministry or a chamber could assist and have a great impact in this, because this will align everyone to the same level. Of course, the two projects, the TRUSTFOOD project and the Block for SME project, is very impactful in this sense because they both cover this training part, they raise awareness, they clarify things, and they present good practice of how to do this, whilst in the same time not highlight the challenges and the future, which will be the adoption of AI in combination with blockchain. I think that these two technologies will alleviate some more obstacles that the SMEs have. For example, you are in the field and you are trying with an application to gather data for the ledger, and AI could assist you by the image processing of how to describe the product, taking history data and propose to you, recommend you what data to use from the past and optimize this. So it will be a very good combination for the future. All the other obstacles have been described by Karel.
Indeed, thank you. So effective training is essential for driving adoption. So how do you ensure blockchain training is practical for SMEs through your project, Block for SME, Karel?
So in Block for SME, we developed an ECVIT compliant modular training approach. So ECVIT, why? Because we want it to be as widely available and usable as you can in Europe. We follow strictly the guidelines of ECVIT. We have an ECVIT curriculum, associated modules. We have assessments that address knowledge, skills, competence, autonomy, etc. We follow a template that we know that we can offer to vet training centers, and they can actually absorb it as it is, because it's totally fitting the template, the standard that they normally use. And we provide this as OER. So this makes sure that whoever is interested can take it on board and can further work on it. But it's modular, just like every vet training. So that means you can decide as trainer, where do I put the most focus on? So we have in there 5 modules, and I mean, we obviously have the technical introduction module, because everyone has to understand what is it about, what is blockchain, what does it do? Because our target group are not those that are expertised in blockchain. The target group is those that do not know about blockchain or know a little bit about blockchain. So we want to give them that technical introduction, and then we want to exemplify how they can do it for the food industry, how they can do that for the tourism industry, following 11-step approach for implementing blockchain. And then, after we have done that, we're also going to talk about the ethical parts. Right? And there, as I mentioned before, GDPR pops up. I mean, there's a lot of international European legislation, but as I said, it's all still on a quite high level. Then another aspect that we also do is simulations. Simulations of a certain scenario we give them, but also, and that's what we are planning to do, is a sandbox environment whereby they can really play with the blockchain. They can understand my action has this reaction in the blockchain. So by offering that, we hope to have this kind of introduction for SMEs. We hope to make it as widely available as possible, open in a variety of languages. Within there, we introduce also real-world case studies and success stories. Unfortunately, these success stories are often linked to bigger companies and not a lot to the small companies that we would like to have in there. But we try to pinpoint a number of cases that we are identifying. Then we have a range of workshops where we're trying to explain the difficult part of blockchain in an easy to understand way. For example, later this week, we have a workshop for Belgian entrepreneurs to explain what is it, but explain in a way that they can understand it, not in a techie way. Another aspect in there is that we need to align this with what SMEs need and their capabilities, because there's no point, for example, to approach an SME that is doing specific business where blockchain cannot really add added value. You need to look at a business where blockchain can really add an added value. Trusted suppliers, especially in the food industry, is something that you go to any food packaging, food producing company, they are very interested. We also want to encourage collaboration with people that have more experience. Peer mentoring system. This is also useful. I'll give a hypothetical example. We work with a certain company, the certain company introduces blockchain, it proves to work, and they become like the blockchain champion for other SMEs that are not experienced and that want to hear from them how it can be addressed. One of the other things is also the ongoing support that we will clarify that. This is one of the steps also when we talk about training of implementing a blockchain, because it's not only to implement your blockchain. Once it is running, you need to also check the quality. You need to do this ongoing check. Things can change. Things are not permanent. Yeah, I think that's the main part. I think in general, whatever solution we come to for an SME should be open, first of all. That's then on a technical level. But secondly, it should be very user-friendly, because once it is not user-friendly, SMEs will not implement it. So there are a number of open platforms that exist. Ethereum, the other one, Cardano, Stellar, you name it. So the task will be really to show, look, these are available. What they're going to pick. If you do this, this is a consequence. This will have to be done. But at the top level for the SME must be that it is user-friendly for them. Because if it becomes too technical, complicated, or simply with interfaces that are too unfriendly, they're not going to use it. So I think those are like my top 5 or top 6 or top 7 of barriers that we have, solutions that we can offer, and then how this has been addressed in the training that we do as a project block for SME.
Thank you very much, Karel. And Dimitrios, how tailor your training to SMEs with different digital skills levels in the TRUSTFOOD project?
Yes, the TRUSTFOOD project adopts a curriculum with multiple and multilingual digital short courses, which span from basic to advanced technological knowledge, as well presenting good practices and approaches. So we have a tiered and flexible approach that meets participants depending on their level. For beginners, for example, the focus is on digital fundamentals and blockchain basics. Intermediate users benefit from practical demonstrations of blockchain technology in food supply chains. With the advanced users explore the integration techniques, case studies, as well as issues related to new business models and financial models based on tokenization, smart contracts, blockchain and AI, several things that look to the future too. So this is how we tailor the training based on the level of each participant. The delivery method of the training is based on a digital training platform produced in WordPress technology, enhanced with plugins which aim on offering personalized e-learning. User-friendly webinars have been constructed, which offer self-paced digital training modules to the SMEs, so as the SMEs to have this flexibility based on their schedule to participate in the courses. And of course, we try to offer continuous support, including tutorials during the training and post-training. This is the overall approach.
Thank you very much. So, to wrap up, let's take a look at the future. Karel, what do you believe is the key to ensuring long-term digital adoption for SMEs through your initiatives?
Overall awareness of what it is, what it can do, what are the benefits. And then, I mean, there are many elements, but I think that the two main ones would be the first one, so awareness, and that we can do through the training. I think secondly is we need to have these collaborative ecosystems, I would call them. And what we mentioned before, chambers of commerce, development companies, and etc. We need to have this ecosystem. That does not exist at the moment. They're all scattered. And when we have this collaborative ecosystem, then SMEs will be much more willing to embark, to enter a blockchain environment, to join the blockchain revolution, because it's actually what it's going to be. It's going to be a revolution. So I think those are the two main ones that we are more or less, if you look at the challenges, I think these are the two main elements. Yes.
Thank you. And Dimitrios, same question for you. What would you say is the key to ensuring long-term digital adoption?
Yes, the key is to create a learning ecosystem. I would enhance this ecosystem with the creation of a community of practice where SMEs could collaborate, share experiences, and learn from one another. So this will be a key. This community of practice could only function well if there is a continuous engagement strategy, a solid communication strategy to engage a multi-stakeholder group to be involved in this community of practice. So not only SMEs, but also governmental, local, regional, municipal communities and municipal organizations to participate so as to exchange these experiences. This peer support network, combined with the flexible and accessible training by TRUSTFOOD and Block for SME, of course, projects, could empower SMEs to see digital transformation as a continuous journey rather than a one-time task. So this is the key, to build this community of practice which will see the future in digital transformation and be aware that this transformation is something continuous, not a project that starts, ends, finishes, and this is it.
Thank you. So I would like to thank you both for sharing your valuable insights. This has been an enlightening discussion on the transformative potential of blockchain in empowering SMEs. And we hope this session has sparked new ideas and strategies for your own work. So have a wonderful day and goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.